pursue it. My youngest granddaughter, can you hear me? My youngest granddaughter, Anna, graduated last Saturday. My daughter is an only child, and my son-in-law comes from a family of 6. There's 6 siblings. All of them are married, all of them have children, some of them with grandchildren, and they all like to come to these events, whether they're from Kansas City or Topeka or Dallas, or there's another town in Texas, or Arizona. They come. There's one uncle that says, I have been to every grandchild's graduation from the beginning. And there's a picture of Grandma Helen, who's 96, with her oldest grandson and her youngest granddaughter, and she's been to all their graduations. It was a chaotic weekend last weekend. There were at least 24 family members that had seats reserved for graduation. After graduation, we went back to Andy and Kurt's and had a reception, and people in the community came, and they were supposed to filter outside, but it was in the upper 90s, so we were all inside. I'm an introvert. I live alone. It was so noisy, but it was an incredible, incredible day. It got hot and noisy in the living room, and the kitchen, and the dining room. One of the highlights of being around all those folks was meeting and interacting with Ida's mom, dad, and brother. Now, Ida was the foreign exchange student from Spain that came, and her mom and dad and brother got to come. Her mother was a surprise. Her mother had said she wasn't going to come because her English wasn't that good. It was much better than she claimed. But they were fully present at this Dale family event. Luis and Prairie got to meet Andy and Kurt through Zoom meetings over this last school year. So they weren't brand new to each other. They were comfortable with each other. Andy said that she and Prairie got to have some quiet mom one-on-one time, and Ida's the only daughter in that family, and she's graduated, and Anna's the youngest in Andy's family, and she's graduated. So there were tears as well as conversation that went on. Kurt and Luis, that's Ida's dad. Let me show you this picture. I'm going to pass it around. This is Luis and Kurt. We'll go ahead and pass it around. Ida says that it's like one person in 2 countries. They are so much alike. If you notice, they're built very much alike. She says they have the same hairline, the same laughter, and the same waistline. So one person in 2 countries.
You're welcome.
I think that this is one of the reasons that Ida was so comfortable with Kurt in this year in their house. They, I can't think of the word, they kind of bounced off each other quite a bit. Kurt does it with his own daughters, but he very comfortably did it with Ida, and she was able to receive it. They joked. She's got a picture in her bedroom on the closet wall. It's Kurt's body with his belly, but her head on top of this. Andy didn't even know about that one. The 2 men got along like brothers. And I actually heard both Andy and Kurt and Luis speak of being familia. 2 families who didn't even know each other existed less than a year ago. And it was incredible to see these folks get together. And the plan is for Anna to go to Spain. She was going to go with a friend, but you know, 3 females don't always work as well as 2. And there was some uncomfortableness between the 3 of them, so one of them isn't going. So Anna's going to Spain all by herself and fly home all by herself this summer. And Andy and Kurt have a 30th wedding anniversary coming up, and their hope was to go to Italy for their 30th, and how close is Spain to Italy? So their plans may change a little bit, I'm not sure. To shift a little bit here, for the past 2 weeks, I've been trying to find a way to watch the movie Babel. Babel. I haven't found a way yet to see it. It's not on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Today's message is influenced by a sermon that I read by a Reverend Mayuris P. Alicia, who was impacted by the storyline of this movie, Babel. It can be understood as a network narrative, meaning not network like TV, but a network of combined things. The characters are scattered across the world, representing different points of a network that's connected by various strands. The movie incorporates quite a large number of characters who are all equally important. Babel has multiple protagonists who, as a consequence, make the plot more complex in relation to time and causality. And it doesn't flow in consequential order. It goes back and forth. This is what I'm hearing anyway. One of the central connections between all of the main characters is a rifle, of all things, a rifle. Over the course of the movie, the viewer finds out that a man from Japan, have you seen it?
I know how to see it now.
The movie?
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube, the full movie.
Thank you. We find out that there's a man from Japan who visits Morocco for a hunting trip, and he gives the rifle as a gift to his guide, who is a Moroccan, who then sells it to another Moroccan, where it gets passed on to this man's sons. Susan Jones is an American on vacation who in turn is shot by this rifle by the two boys that are watching a goat herd. They want to see how far the rifle can shoot. And Susan Jones being shot by this rifle has a tragic impact on her undocumented Mexican nanny who's in the States caring for their 2 children. So it's a very complex movie, it sounds like. All the characters are affected by the connections created between them, connections that influence both their individual lives as well as the overall structure of the plot. The movie shows how a single object, the rifle, can serve as a connection between many different characters or points in a network who do not necessarily need to know each other. Even though the rifle isn't passed on any further, it continues to influence the characters' lives in significant ways. This demonstrates how the smallest actions on one side of the world can ultimately lead to a complete change of another person's life elsewhere, without there being any form of direct contact between the two. Are you familiar with the butterfly effect? Do you want to tell us what it means, butterfly effect?
Well, as I understand it, butterfly flaps its wings and it affects things on the other side of the world.
Exactly.
It's a ripple effect,
Yes.
every little action.
Such a small action can impact something on the other side of the world, either directly or indirectly, and mostly by accident. Mayura says this movie is a great example showing us how interconnected we really are. It shows how much we really need each other and how each of us needs to be a peacemaker in order to coexist harmoniously in this great big little world that we live in. It tells us stories of how 4 families in 4 different parts of the world are connected. I want to share just a little bit more. Brad Pitt and Kate Blanchett play the Joneses from America on vacation in Morocco. They're the parents of those 2 children back in the U.S. being cared for by their undocumented Mexican nanny. While in Morocco, Susan Jones gets shot while on a tour bus. The shot comes from that rifle owned by a Moroccan man whose boys are herding the family goats. The boys have this gun with them to protect the goats from jackals, but being they're fairly young boys, they want to know how far this rifle can really shoot. So they shoot at a bus out on the road. And this, of course, is where Susan is. The man who bought the rifle to protect his goats bought the rifle from a man who was given the rifle as a present by a Japanese hunter. The Japanese hunter is raising a deaf teenage daughter alone after her mother died at her own hand. It just sounds so complicated, so complex. As the movie unfolds, as I shared, we learn how the lives of all of these characters intersect and how the actions of a little boy in Morocco can affect the life of an undocumented Mexican woman living in the U.S. and the life of a deaf Japanese teenager halfway around the world. The message of that movie brought to Mayura's mind one of her favorite songs about how we need each other. Its title is I Need You to Survive, and it was written and performed by the Reverend Hezekiah Walker and his group, the Love Fellowship Crusade Choir. I did find this on YouTube, and it's 7 minutes long. So I'm just going to recite a few of the beginning lines in the lyrics. It starts out, I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It's a very slow song, so they don't sing as fast as I'm talking these words. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I love you. I need you to survive. I pray for you. You pray for me. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. It is God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I did share this Mother's Day at Coldwater, this message, and as I thought about the initial origins of Mother's Day in May as a call for worldwide peace, it was a call for mothers to do what they could to bring peace into the world so they didn't have to see the ravages of war on the faces of their husbands and their sons. As I thought about the work of Julia Ward Howe and later Ann Jarvis to help bring peace to the world through the voices of mothers, I wondered where we are as a country today in the midst of a new war. And I thought more personally of my own role with regard to ensuring peace within our cities, within our nation, among nations, and in the world. How am I impacting somebody on the other side of the world? Maybe in Spain or Japan or Morocco. I wonder about it even more as I think about the fact that we are created to be in relationship with each other and with the natural world and to be interdependent. What are we doing? What am I doing to be a peacemaker? What am I doing to make sure there is peace in Pratt, Kansas, in Pretty Prairie, Kansas, in Coldwater, Kansas, and beyond? I work with an Enneagram coach, and I'm a number 9, a type 9. There are 9 types on the Enneagram, and type 9s are considered peacemakers. So this is a big deal to me. This is a big deal to me. Sometimes peacemaking can be avoiding conflict. Sometimes peacemaking is stepping into conflict, to finding out how to help calm things down. So I ask, what am I doing? What can I do to make sure there is peace between people who hold different views on the issues of abortion, gay marriage, the war? What am I doing to make sure there is peace with Iran? What am I doing to be called a peacemaker? And let me tell you, this has been hard for me because I've been estranged from my sister since October. And it's been very, very hard to talk about peace and kindness, knowing in the back of my head that there's this relationship that I'm not comfortable with. Her birthday was August 28th, and I unblocked so we could text. And I texted happy birthday to her. And I left it open just to see if she would respond. And immediately she responded back with, "Thank you so much," with a happy face with hearts all around it, which surprised me. It just surprised me. But I felt like there's at least been a step made towards peace. And then she sent me a happy Mother's Day wish later. So I haven't blocked that text messaging off again. You're the first people I've admitted this to.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
You jiggle the string on the web, on
Yes.
the connections that everybody has.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. Maybe you've asked yourself, what can I do? The problems seem like too many, too big, too far away. And so do we think we're doing nothing? Do we think that? And the problems, they just keep continuing. And we think we did nothing because the problems are too many, too big, and too far away. And yet, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. That's what Jesus tells us in Matthew, in the Sermon on the Mount. I believe that to be a peacemaker does not require that we solve the problems that we encounter every day or see in every corner of the world. Instead, it might mean saving the life of one person by listening, by being aware, open, interested. Maybe we could help restore the relationship between two people, like my sister, maybe between two families. To be a peacemaker requires that we do something wherever we are that helps people live out God's promise of an abundant life. And I don't think of an abundant life as one of wealth and surplus. There are people who live an abundant life with very few resources. For Mayuris, she writes that being a peacemaker to her means working to help people live in cities where they don't have to worry about driving down the main street at night with the fear of being caught in a spray of gunshots coming from rival gangs trying to claim a street corner to sell drugs. For her, being a peacemaker means helping people see that whether or not a woman can or does have an abortion is more important. Let me start over again. Being a peacemaker means helping people see that whether or not a woman can or does have an abortion, it is more important to make sure that the woman has adequate health insurance so that she can access the needed services. Being a peacemaker might be helping people see that it's a very dangerous thing for a person in power to declare war based on what that person thinks another might do or has the potential to do, because it means that we may one day have our own freedom or autonomy compromised based on what another person or country thinks of us. I don't have the answers. I don't sit here with the answers. The one thing I learned as I prepared for today's message is that in the context of ancient Judah and biblical history, peacemakers, or the makers of peace, were those who actively pursued, created, and restored peace. Shalom, as the Jewish people say. They restore peace and unity rather than simply avoid conflict. Sometimes it can be so much easier to avoid conflict by just walking away or closing our ears. In his Hebrew translation of the New Testament, Franz Delitzsch chose to render the concept of peacemakers as pursuers of peace, or those who chase after peace. His choice of the words in this case was intentional to connect the informed reader of Matthew 5 with the passage in Psalm 34, so that the Matthew verse reads, "Blessed are the pursuers of peace, or those who chase after peace, for they will be called children of God." Before I discovered this understanding of the meaning of peacemaker as pursuer of peace, I believed, and I do believe, that being a peacemaker does not mean sitting around lamenting about our limitations to bring about changes we think need to happen. Being a peacemaker requires vision so we can imagine an alternative to the life lived in the present. It requires vision so we can imagine and work towards a future where things are better for people close to us and maybe even someone on the other side of the world. Being a peacemaker requires boldness to proclaim that what God created is good and deserves to be protected. Humans, animals, plants, all of creation. Being a peacemaker requires our willingness and ability to see God in everyone, being able to see the image of God in every one of God's children, black, white, Latino, Asian, documented or undocumented, Iranian or American, poor or rich, gay or straight. God's good creation is calling out for peace. What are we doing to make sure that we live in peace? If nothing else, we can start by recognizing that we were created to be in relationship with one another and recognize that I need you, you need me. We're all part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It's God's will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. We need each other to survive. As we go about our business of being peacemakers and helping to leave the world a place with a little more peace, even if it's for selfish reasons, because my survival depends on your survival. In the midst of all the unrest, we need to remember God's word to the people of Judah at a time they were displaced. And I'm paraphrasing here. God told them to make a life in the place where they were, ensure that life is good and that there is prosperity. For in the prosperity of the strange, dangerous foreign land lies their prosperity. I did a study of that word posterity as well, prosperity. And it doesn't mean being wealthy or being a part of the elite. A prosperous life is a comprehensive life, a blessed life, characterized by peace, security, and a deep, active relationship with God. Peacemakers are called to build relationships, to recognize that we are all connected, and to help people see that we need each other to survive. May we leave this place with the purpose of telling everybody that we meet in our own ways, I pray for you, you pray for me, I love you, I need you to survive. So, peacemakers, may God's peace be with you today and forward. Amen. Amen.